as always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
The Masters edition, winners and losers for me, and you got to go with Scottie Scheffler as the winner. Just incredible. A lot of people, coming into it had him as the massive favorite, and rightfully so. The ball striking, just fantastic. The touch around the greens was great. I mean, it's like he's holing out or getting close to holing out on wedge shots and iron shots and just absolutely blistering the drive right down the middle the entire week. Incredible stuff. Pressure took a couple of, he had the lead and there were some guys making little runs here and there, but no one could hold the level of play that he had for as long as he did. He was just nails. I never really seen anything like it. It's been a while. He is just smooth as can be. Doesn't really run on a whole lot of emotion out there, which I think is a benefit for him. And he just drills the golf ball nonstop.
You forgot the most impressive thing. He's about to have a kid. Like
Yeah,
that was in play, and he had said it multiple times, and I absolutely respect the hell out of it that he was going to leave if his wife went into labor. And I I'm really glad that didn't happen for him because he was clearly the best golfer. He was clearly the best golfer playing Augusta National this weekend, and but to have that type of distraction kind of lingering over you, and to go out and play the type of golf that he did, that guy's a machine,
I know.
unbelievable.
Is it a distraction or is it kind of like, oh gosh, what's the for love of the game, Kevin Costner? He's got all the stuff running through his head while he's throwing the perfect game out there. Clear the mechanism. I don't know. He was in the zone, whatever was going on. It was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I love the shot tracer stuff for him. It's just nonstop, crazy.
I I was hoping that Max Homa was going to make it interesting. He seems like the most likable guy ever.
Hmm.
Never met the guy, but
Great
have
looking
heard
swing.
have heard him on a gajillion podcasts. He just seems like a really good dude. The double on 12 was kind of his undoing, and that's it when that happened, it kind of felt over to me.
Yeah, he had the double there. Um, Oberg had what he hit it in the water on 10. Um, Morikawa just never really found his stride.
The
He was
double
off a
where
little
he
bit.
the what hole was it? I think he doubled, was it 9? Where he was in the bunker, he just didn't get it out on the first shot. And I
Yeah,
was like, I know what that looks like. It was such a relatable situation.
yeah, yeah. And that's what I had as loser was we had the course was beautiful. The weather was fantastic. I know it was windy on what Friday and Saturday for the most part,
It
but
looked insane on Friday.
yeah, but that doesn't bother me at all. I want the course to play really difficult. I like whenever that happens. And it looked like, coming into Sunday, we were going to have great conditions, but the no excuses golf. I mean, the course obviously is going to be really difficult because of the setup, but you had a lot of really good players right there within striking distance. And, whether it's the pressure or what, I don't know, but no one was able to really mount much of a charge, especially on the back nine.
That was that was kind of the difference between this year and last year. Thinking about what Phil Mickelson did on Sunday last year, just went
Yeah.
super low, right? And we really didn't have that. When you look at, I mean, Scheffler, of the guys that were in contention, Scheffler went the lowest. Like there was no one that fired off that, 65 and made things really, really interesting and built that
Yeah.
buzz. It, it didn't come together.
Felt like it felt like the course was a little bit too tough for that with those brutal greens. But I mean, usually you have someone out there that goes low, and but you can tell the difference in that course whenever it's a little softer compared to like what it was this week. I mean, that's whenever you get the true feeling of all the undulation and everything out there.
It looked miserable when that day, and all you had to do was look at Jason Day's pants to see how windy it was. How about those things, man? I mean, those things were fantastic. Let's not even talk about the sweater vest he tried to rock out there. Oh my gosh. But I like guys were barely tapping the ball and it was just flying on those greens. It was
Oh,
stressing me out watching it on my couch. I was like,
I
I don't
know.
like it. I don't want to, I don't like watching this. It makes me like I'm scared.
I it's like you get the same feeling whenever you're standing over a chip shot where you know there's no chance that I'm going to be able to get this to hold the green. It you feel it through the television. You're right. There's a bunch of anxiety watching those, and the putts like, uh, you left it above the hole. And then they're just like just a tap, try to keep it on the green. It's fun to watch though. I mean, that's what makes it enjoyable is whenever the course is playing that difficult, and they look like us at times.
Scottie Scheffler is, I mean, there's just no doubt the run that he's on. It's the best thing we've seen since prime Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
And I'm not
which
sure he's even, I don't think Scottie Scheffler's even close to being in his prime yet.
yeah, you may be right. I'll say this, you know, like for example, Max Homa has a beautiful swing. Whenever I watch him hit the ball, there's no part of me that says I can replicate that. But with Scheffler, and I'm not suggesting I can replicate that, but at least his feet look like my feet, you know? Like
He's
it
doing a shuffle while he's hitting the golf ball.
yeah,
His
yeah,
feet look
like
like my son's feet when he's hitting it. I'm like, buddy, you got to keep your feet still. And we're down in the basement. He's hitting golf balls. We're watching the Masters. Scheffler's feet's moving all over the place. I'm like, you know what, son? Do whatever feels good. Do whatever feels
exactly.
natural. Whatever. Do what your body tells you to do. You got it, buddy. You got it.
Hey, the I don't know if it's the best advice, but it's some advice that one of my uncles gave me a long time ago. Great golfer. It doesn't matter as long as the club face is square at impact. Doesn't matter what it looks like. So there you go.
Maybe I should try the shot. I think I would honestly break my ankle.
It's going to be the new thing. You know how it is. That's what golf. Everyone tries to copy everything. There's going to be people's feet slipping out all over the place.
He's the best golfer in the world, and it's not even close right now. And you got to imagine that every golf instructor across the country is just telling every student they have, no, no,
Don't
you
even
can't
think
do
about
that.
it.
You cannot do that.
But I want to like throw that right foot out at impact. It wants to go there. No.
It feels right. It's what Scheffler does. Could be like a bunch of foot fractures, like left foot
Oh yeah.
fractures, like crunching that fifth metatarsal.
The new thing is to wear a golf spike on your left foot, but not on your right. It's all that tension. You got to release the tension whenever you go through the golf ball.
The and I loved how you went Oberg. You'll hear Aberg quite a bit, but Oberg is the proper way to say it, right? It's the A with the little O on top of it.
Well, yeah, and it's even like you've got to put the right emphasis on the right syllable. It's like Oberg.
Oberg.
Yeah.
He already is. I should know this. I interviewed him when he was at Tech
Yeah.
golfing because he was like player of the year back to back years. We had him on Big 12 radio. I That guy is, just from talking to some of the golf people, that I know, it seems like that guy is going to be an absolute dude for a long time.
If he doesn't hit it in the water on 11, he may have made it interesting. But that one shot, you get over there and like that's the experience thing. You saw where Scheffler put it on 11. It's like, don't even test that. That's not the green or the shot to test it on. And you just tug it a little more left than you want to, and it's gone.
So when you're watching a sport with someone that knows a lot more about that sport than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're ever in that situation? It's like some people watching football with us,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to listen to some of the things. So I was at the Thunder game with Taylor Gooch. His wife invited, or my wife invited his wife and him to come to the game with us. The second Oberg hit his tee shot on 11, he goes in the water very calmly. Just what he's literally it. They hadn't even showed, like, the tracker thing hadn't even showed up yet, and he goes in the water. What do you mean in the water? And they got to it and went in the water. I was like, yeah, I don't know anything about golf. Okay, cool. Yeah, totally get it.
Yeah. Well, that's the crazy thing about that course is I've never even been there, and I know a lot of the holes, and that's the thing you see. It's like that. That's one of the most difficult shots there is. You can't even mess with it over there. But he's fun to watch. He's kind of the new guy on tour that's on my radar that I'll be paying attention to.
The one thing I'll say about him, my one request: Adidas, don't turn him into Adidas Jordan Spieth. Okay, let let's get some more color. Let's get him looking a little bit,
Style.
a little more style. Listen, I get the logo, the three stripe thing. I get it. Let's get a little more creative. He's going to be a star. Don't I don't know. I just feel like Jordan Spieth's Under Armour stuff he doesn't do it for me. Adidas, figure something out for this guy. He's going to be a star. Get him some cool golf gear, okay? It was a little too boring for me.
Maybe Tiger will be the first to sponsor him with that hideous logo that they came out with.
He's still
God.
mad about it.
Yeah, I'm still mad about it. Which,
What'd you think
I
about the
was
logo location on Sunday?
it
Underneath the
was
buttons in the middle. How about that?
it was interesting. I didn't really I thought that was fine. I'll tell you the funny thing. Yesterday I went to bed fully like prepared and thinking that there's no way Tiger's going to play on Sunday. And then I saw him when I turned it on. He was just starting on number one, and he was wearing the Sunday red. I was like, "Wow, he's playing!" And then he had to get out there in the new gear on Sunday. You can't not have the Sunday red with your new gear, right?
Tremendous point. I I wanted the red to pop a little more. Was it? I feel like it was a shade or too dark for what I was hoping his Sunday red would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more of I would prefer the dark red myself.
Well,
Take
it
the
was closer
loudness
to an
out of it a
OU
little
red.
bit. Yeah,
It was
that's kind
closer
of what
to a
I prefer.
crimson than a red.
Which, for them, you could have gone like the bright red anyways, because he usually sweats through it so much that it turns the darker red anyways. It's like a two-tone.
What do you think that was like for Neil Shipley? That kid had to feel like he was dreaming.
Yeah,
Not
I
only did
think.
he get to play on Sunday at the Masters with Tiger Woods, he played a lot better than Tiger Woods.
Did you see his press conference
Yeah. First of
where
all,
the
great
cut?
hair on that guy. Talk about just tremendous flow. You talk about the difference between body types of golfers.
Oh
There
my
you go.
gosh. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know what was with that. Some journalist says it looked like Tiger wrote a note down and handed it to you on one of the fairways. And he like looks over at someone, is like, that didn't happen. And then okay, press conference over. I don't know what was going on there. I have no idea. Interesting.
I don't know. But that had to be, you talk about an all-time cool experience. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Uh,
what he bogeyed number one, and then the stress was gone after that. Okay, I looked like an idiot on the first hole. Now I can go play golf.
You got anything else Masters related other than that
I think.
awesome shirt from Coach Hibble?
Oh yeah, gotta love it.
You're not
Thanks,
sweating
Coach.
through yours like I did. Proud of you.
It's an
So
awesome
bad.
shirt. I love it.
All
Very
right, let's
good.
get to my winner and loser. But first, attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
Also, great Oklahoma City basketball shirts on opolisclothing.com.
That's right.
For my winner of the weekend, thought about going with the UFC. Now, I've never really gotten into the UFC like a lot of people have, but I feel like you had to be living under a rock if you're a sports fan and you didn't see Max Holloway knock out Justin Gaethje. That was, what was it, a second to go in the fight? And for him to wave him to the middle of the ring, and Holloway, he had won the fight. The fight was over. He was going to win. But for him to take the risk and be like, hey, let's put on a show, and for Gaethje to be like, yeah, let's do it, and those dudes just throw at each other like that, dude, that was crazy. That was wildly entertaining. I'm sure that Gaethje wished he didn't get knocked out, but it was they gave the people what they wanted. The crowd
Yeah.
went insane, and just it seems like it's, I don't know a lot about UFC, but it seems like it's one of the all-time UFC moments.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. I watched all the prelims too. There were some pretty good prelim fights. So, man, yeah, that's crazy. And I just every time I watch the UFC, I the courage to knowingly step in the ring, knowing that you may get knocked out in front of the entire world, is like, it's like one of us is coming out of here, the other is not. And I know you can go to decision and all of that stuff, but still, it's the ultimate in competition. It's good stuff.
Dana White also announced that Conor McGregor will be making his return at UFC 303 in Vegas on June 29th. Going to be fighting Michael Chandler. That guy, he moves the needle, man. What he
He is
hasn't fought
entertaining as
since
hell.
he
Yep.
hasn't fought since July of 21.
Has it been that long?
It's been
Jeez.
forever. So that is, so you had that moment with Holloway, and you mentioned a couple of other really, really good fights at UFC 300. And now the news that McGregor's coming back for 303. Solid weekend for the UFC, man.
Yeah, no, it is. And wildly entertaining to watch Conor McGregor. That Diaz fight, the first one from back in the day, was just maybe the best UFC fight I've ever seen. Just absolutely bloodbath, standing there toe to toe. It was great.
Easy transition to OU softball, my winner of the weekend. And listen, I know what happened in game 2 against BYU. 9-4 loss. Not great. First Big 12 loss at home since 2017. They left way too many runners stranded during game 2. Pitching got hit hard. Listen, I get it. Didn't execute at the plate late in the game. which is just a foreign feeling for us as OU softball fans. I get it. But at the end of the day, you take 2 of 3, win the series. You're still in first place in the Big 12. And Kelly Maxwell is looking good in the
Yeah.
circle.
Yep.
She was nails in game 1 in that shutout. She looked fantastic. Sydney Sanders hits the run rule walk off there, the 3-run homer in that 8-0 win. And then Maxwell comes back in game three, and looks really good again. So I think that, and I'm not a softball expert, but she appears to be emerging as that go-to arm for
Yeah.
them. And just with what we've seen throughout the years at the Women's College World Series, you got to have one of those pitchers. And it seems like Kelly Maxwell is getting to that spot. Ted, I've been really impressed with what I've seen from her lately, and she looked really good in the BYU series.
Yeah. No, I mean it's going to be interesting to see how the team responds moving forward. You know, I know they entered the season with a ton of pressure, and now it's like everything hangs on every loss. They're not in an easy spot. I mean, they've got a huge spotlight on them. The magnifying glass is on the every move, but it's a good thing that Kelly Maxwell's coming around. You're still getting great play from like your consistent star players. You know, there's going to have to be some other players emerge, and I'm confident that they will. But you know, crank the drama up, man. It's going to be a fun ending to the regular season in the Big 12.
I'm with you. Jada Coleman, what is it, 29 games now on Bay Street? That catch
Crazy.
she had in game 3 was sick.
Dude, she's good for a catch like that. Like every couple of games, she does something insane out in the field. She's incredible.
Kenzie Hansen, really good weekend at the plate. Brito was massive for them in game 3. So, you know, you kind of wish game 2 didn't happen, but it is what it is. I think that OU, they appear to be struggling right now, Ted, but you think about what other teams' struggles look like, and then you compare them to what OU's struggles are. It just, it's not that bad, people. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not that bad. They're gonna work through it.
Well, it's honestly, it's a lot like the Alabama treatment. You know, what you look at last season, and they dropped the game to Texas early, and they're left for dead, and they take the national champion into overtime. You know, with a chance to go to the national championship with Michigan, and I still can't believe what happened in that game. But that's not the point. I think there's a lot of people ready to call time of death on the Oklahoma softball program, like at the first sign of adversity, but that ain't going to be the case.
No, I do think that it'd be a nice statue for people to visit outside Love's Field here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Should be a big deal that I'm sure the head coach will absolutely hate. But hey, it is what it is, Patty. I'm sorry.
That's what happens. That's the burden of winning. Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't have won so much. It's your fault. All right, my loser of the weekend. Thought about going with Kentucky basketball fans. It seemed like, I don't know if it was the majority of them, but a lot of them wanted John Calipari gone. He leaves, and I feel like a lot of Kentucky fans thought that they were going to get a big name. They were going to be able to brag about it. And Ted, it seems like everyone they went after said no thanks. Scott
Yeah.
Drew, staying at Baylor. Danny Hurley, staying at UConn. Doesn't sound like Billy Donovan gave it much serious consideration. I don't know if they tried to get Nate Oates to leave Bama. I assume they did. Didn't work. End up hiring BYU's Mark Pope. Now, he was the captain on the national championship team for Kentucky back in the day. And I actually enjoyed watching his BYU team this season, but he when you talk about the type of guy that fan base thought they were going to get, Mark Pope does not have the credentials. He does not have the resume that I think they anticipated their new coach having.
Right. Well, it may end up being a great hire for them, like maybe exactly what they need. You never know. But man, it's it's interesting right now in college hoops, and it's always a question mark on whether you want to follow someone that was so ingrained in a program and one of the faces of the sport. It's just funny thinking about Billy Donovan. You know, whenever he first went to the NBA, I bet he was like, it. It is a pain in the ass managing a roster and like all of the back and forth with an NBA, like what goes on with the running an NBA team. And now he's probably like, it seems like a nightmare in college, building a roster and dealing with what goes on a day-to-day basis in college. So it's like NBA is now the easier locker room. I don't know, just funny thinking about it, but I don't know, man. We'll see what happens with Pope. It may end up being a great hire for him.
I'm rooting for him. But
Yeah.
when a guy goes back to his alma mater for whatever reason, I'm always rooting hard for that type of guy, especially with how how this particular hire, like the reaction to it.
It's a lot of similarities between like North Carolina and Duke, what they ended up doing, right?
Yeah. So, we'll see. I'm not going to write Mark Pope off. I'm going to give the guy a chance. I got no idea if it's going to work or not, but we'll see. But I know a lot of Kentucky fans were saying we don't need Coach Cal. We're going to bring in X, Y, or Z. And I don't think Mark Pope was the name they were throwing out when they were talking that way to their buddies.
Hey, here's I don't know anything about Mark Pope and his style and how he recruits.
He
I
is
don't
like
know anything about that.
6'10, so at least you have a tall, like you have a
There you
tall
go.
coach. That's cool.
Like Phil Jackson. Um, I'm pretty confident though that if you give him more NIL than anyone else in the country, you're going to have a very, very competitive basketball team.
I will I will also say this. It's a lot easier to recruit at Kentucky than BYU.
Yeah.
I saw some people being like, well, he wasn't recruiting at a high level at BYU. Are they aware of that honor code? It's not exactly it's not exactly the most appealing place for a lot of high level high school basketball players, okay?
Right.
Just I think they're gonna recruit just fine at Kentucky. But we'll see. But my loser of the weekend, the New Orleans Pelicans are just impossible to figure out. Uh, if they beat the Lakers, if they would have beat the Lakers on Sunday in New Orleans, they avoid the play in. That did not happen. Lakers came to their house and got after him. And LeBron is just ridiculous, man. I mean, what he is doing with the number of games he's played at his age, 28, 17 assists and 11 rebounds in that game. Pelicans also no answers for Anthony Davis. He had 30 and 11. In such a big game, if you're the Pelicans, your stars have to be stars, right? That's what you always say. Stars got to be stars. Zion had 12. Brandon Ingram came back for this game. He had 13. So now they got to play him again in the 7-8 playing game. But a little wrinkle, Ted. In the fourth quarter, about 5.5 minutes to go, Anthony Davis is back locked up on him. Like just locked up. And he was done. Now, after the game, said it's nothing to be concerned about, said he will absolutely be playing on Tuesday, but with his injury history, can I exactly buy what he's selling me there? I don't know. But that is if they have a healthy Anthony Davis, like I don't think New Orleans can hang with the Lakers in a one game and you advance to the playoffs from the play-in. I just don't trust the Pelicans. I can't
That's
figure
how
them out.
they. That's how the Lakers throw that game to get the
You're
Thunder
convinced the
matchup.
Lakers want the Thunder. You're
Of course I
convinced.
am. Of course I am.
Bring
If
it
you
on. How
if
you
you
know
were
how
the
much fun that
Lakers,
would be?
who would you want? Would you want OKC or Denver?
Okay, you're making a very valid point. Yeah, you
They're
want
beating
Oklahoma
the hell
City.
out of the Pelicans and Anthony Davis. My back. Oh God.
Oh, my back, spinal. I just, I, maybe you got a point. We'll see. We may know with how that game looks between those teams. If I I think the Lakers are going to try to win that game, but yeah, that's a fair point. But
We'll see.
you run the risk of, hey, you're playing Golden State and they hit 23s and then your
There's
season's
no
over.
doubt. There is no doubt. It's a lot. It's a lot to play around with for sure. There's. You are absolutely right about that. I mean, it would. I would probably feel like 100% all in on it if it wasn't Golden State hanging around there to be a team that they had to play to secure it.
Yeah. We'll see how New Orleans bounces back. Lakers don't have to go anywhere. They just get to stay in New Orleans, hang out for a few days, and then get back at it. But we'll see how that 7-8 playing game goes.